Carrot, good buddy.
Tristan, good buddy. Good to see you. What do we got going on?
Well, I mean, this has been long overdue, good buddy. We've been waiting and talking about having just a me and you catch up episode for a hot minute.
Indeed.
We've been busy fellows, man. We've had a lot of stuff going on in our lives, man, and not just with the pod. We've just been, life's been happening. Life's been happening. It's been kicking us in the nuts quite a few times, and it's been kind of cool. And other times, man, we've had a lot of ups and downs, dude. Life has been wild. It's been a roller coaster.
Ain't that the goddamn truth, man? There has been a lot going on. A lot to update everybody on, a lot that maybe not everybody needs an update on, but just the gist, you know? But yeah, it's good to be on. I've definitely missed being on. So thanks for having me back in, obviously, and keep going good places with this show. But without further ado, I feel maybe talk a little bit about where the show is going, where we want things to go, kind of some of our future goals. And before we break into that, I guess I can do a little brief breakdown for myself. Well, so Tristan knows this very well, of course. Over the past while, um, a lot's been going on. I've kind of had to be quasi present for the show. Haven't been able to be there for all of the recordings. We've had a lot of amazing guest stars on, and I look forward to keeping that momentum. I love having the community aboard. We really do. For myself, the reason that I've kind of been gone and like looking at the calendar right now, it actually kind of blows me away because it still feels like it was a couple of days ago or like last Tuesday or, like just a week ago or not very long ago in the past. Like that's how it feels. But my father passed away in February, and prior to that, I was stepping into the role as his caretaker as he kind of went down with cancer. So that being said, like November through now has been extremely difficult on myself and the family, and I've kind of had to, as the saying goes, put my own oxygen mask on first, before I can kind of get back to all these other ambitious goals that I have for myself, for the community, for this show and other projects. Um, but I've definitely found myself in between a rock and a hard place lately. Um, and I could go in depth and really talk a lot about the situation at this point. I've lost friends, I've lost other family members, but it just seems to hit a little harder uh, with my dad. Um, but without going too in depth right here at the beginning of the show, that's kind of the big life update for my end, is my dad recently passed. We've got, we'll be all right. Things are going to get settled around the house. And, I'm just dealing with a lot of what all that entails, man. So,
Yeah, dude, I hear you, and I wish I could have been up there to help you out during the whole thing, dude, because I was worried about you. A lot of us were worried about you, and even though we kept plugging along on the show when you weren't able to be present, it's still like it's Tristan and Carrot, man. We're like our names are on there. You're not going anywhere. This
it's the
you're all
carrot and the stick, man. Carrot and the stick.
carrot and stick, bud. Like this is always gonna be you and I's thing for sure. And Miranda's the brains behind the operation, so it just gives us more opportunity to do cooler shit, man. Cooler shit. So we're yeah, we're glad that you can come back on and have some time to spend with us, dude. But at the same time, like heal, brother. Heal. Do whatever
Yep.
you got to do to heal, and just remember, I'm always gonna be here for you, no matter what.
Thanks, man. And I mean, me and you have talked a lot about this stuff off air, and it's interesting to realize that like I do a lot of preaching good healing messages, and like I can walk somebody through a problem and be like, we get to the other side of that talk and it's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually pretty manageable, you know, like, and where that's parts of life. And here's how we kind of move forward for those things. And yet, for myself, like, it takes a certain amount of momentum to get out of valleys, like there's peaks and valleys. And I'm pretty ADHD. Uh, but I'm used to it taking a certain amount of energy, or like me go and take a walk or go and do this, or like something to break what I'm doing that gives me some dopamine, gives me some momentum towards progress, whatever that looks like for the day. And you get over that initial amount of energy it takes to get over that hill, and then like it's just smooth sailing. I mean, maybe not for everybody, but my fellows with ADHD out there that have the same flavor, I suppose, will understand this. Like once you break that barrier, like, and you've coined the term carrot energy. When
Indeed.
I get carrot energy, I'm just going. I'm going and I'm going and I'm going and I won't stop. And I'm used to having like most of life is just like full steam carrot energy, man. And like I get into the occasional like, it's a slow week. It's not that big a deal. Like I'm not depressed. It's just I'm in, low energy state. And then all I got to do is go get myself active, this or the other, and like I'm all about productivity again.
Mhm.
Lately, like that, whatever that like low energy state is, it feels like a much deeper well, if that makes sense. And so like when I do get the momentum, like I still go at like full carrot energy speeds, but then when I get stuck, like I get stuck hard right now.
And when it,
You
it
know?
used to be easier when like you were just a few blocks away or you were just on the other side of town, and I could just like when I got worried about you and you weren't picking up the phone, I could just show up at your doorstep and just shake you and be like, God damn it, I just wanted to make sure you were alright.
Yep. It's kind of more difficult from 1,000 miles away, brother.
It is. I can't just show up at your door and shake you and be like, I just wanted to make sure you're breathing, all right? Damn it.
Fuck. Yeah, no, it's good to have you and other friends that do that for me, man, and like my brother and other people. Like, now I will say that I've never, not once, been like a suicidal type or ever had thoughts of hurting myself. You know, I'm definitely not the type to go that direction, but I don't like to burden other people with my negative emotions, if that makes sense. And
Yes,
so if
you're the
I'm
type.
if I'm in a bad funk and I express to somebody else, "Oh, here's this depressing situation," well, typically what I'm going to get is some form of sympathy, which brings their emotional state down because now they have to think about this depressing thing that has occurred, you know, and how that affects me. And I'm like, no, I want you to go be happy. Like whatever it is that you're doing that's making you happy. My neighbors are gardening. Like we'll talk about their garden. I'm not gonna be like, my dad just died. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to weigh people down in that way. But that's the thing. But then I take it to the level of where like if everything is bad, then like I just don't bring that to anybody. I try to deal with it myself.
You turn into a bear and you find a den and you sit in it and you don't come out. That's what you
That
do.
is that is a pretty accurate way to
That's
describe the
true.
situation for sure. Yeah,
And then
definitely.
you sit in that den and you marinate in all those feelings. And but you're kind of like me in that situation. It's because I'm guilty of the same thing. Like when I get like that, sometimes like I'll get into my little den and I'll marinate in those all those bad feelings and shitty feelings, and you
I
know,
think everybody
uh,
is.
yeah.
I think it's human. It's just a matter of pushing through it and, finding new normal afterwards, building the skills to like realize that you're in that type of situation for yourself and, take activities to not be in that situation for yourself.
hmm Well, man, at the
Oh,
same time, I just I just feel like it's kind of an epidemic that's going on. You know, it's not just us. You know, when it rains, it pours for sure. You know, it's always been,
exactly.
but
Yes.
you know,
Yeah,
for
man.
everybody out there, I feel like it's rough right now, dude. Like things are rough right now. Things are scary. People are uncertain of what, the future's gonna hold for a lot of us. There's all kinds of scary stuff going on, and people are just scared. We're stressed, and then on top of the, things that life throws at us, even when things are not super scary in the world. Just adds on top of it, dude. I think a lot of people are kind of just feeling rough right now.
Yep. There's a certain level of overwhelmed that it takes to just kind of induce somebody into either panicking or making quick decisions that aren't necessarily the best ones or par- analysis paralysis. And I think that that's where like a lot of us get to where we don't even know what we're going to do because there's so much flooding our direction, and that's something that I wanted to touch on when I bring up the aspect of like I don't like sharing with others when I'm in a bad position because I like bringing positivity to other people, not negativity, Um, I also have these feelings of like, well, my situation's not that bad. Like, I can look at all these other situations that are currently going on right now and be like, damn, like, why am I so upset about stuff? Like, I've got it very, very okay, very good, all things considered. And so I hate being like, oh, well, these things are causing me to not even function properly when I look at other places and other struggles that people have, right? Some other location that's, burdened by tremendously more things, right? Man in Ukraine fighting for to get back to his town where his house was destroyed, like, and he's functioning through all that. Granted, probably with a similar level of like anxiety and like all these other things that come with that, PTSD, what have you. But when I compare what I'm going through to other people, that's when I go, oh, I probably don't have too much to complain about. But that's also a pretty dangerous line of thinking that a lot of people trap themselves into. And they go, well, I shouldn't be like depressed about this because other people have it so much worse. And so like both things can be true, and I don't really know how to express that middle ground, right? Where it's like you should be able to cope with it and get over it, function cuz it could be worse, but at the same time your emotions are valid and you should take time to process or grieve or whatever it is the situation that's overwhelming you.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, dude. I mean, any kind of healing takes time. You know, I mean, the, whether it's physical or emotional or mental, it all takes time.
Yep. Oh, it does. And damn it if it doesn't usually take longer than you'd like it to.
You're telling me, man. You're telling me, dude. at
Not
the
to
very
weigh
least,
down. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you're good. I mean, at the very least, I'm glad you're back here. Like I'm glad you're able to be like back on the pod with me because I'll be honest, dude. Like I don't flow the same without you. I know we've talked about this off air, but like I don't I don't think of the same kind of questions that you do, you know, and nor do I speak as eloquently as you do. Like I'm just the dumb grunt over here. I asked the
I,
comic
I would
relief,
have to.
some would say, but
I would.
dude, like
I would have to
I,
disagree, but go on.
it's funny though. I mean,
Oh man. No, I hear
I
you,
don't know.
man. Well, I feel like you it's funny because I could have said the same thing in the other direction, where I'm like, I feel like you bring a lot of all these questions that I don't even think of to the table. So it's just a good compliment, I feel like, for both of us. We both complement each other very well with covering different bases in a lot of ways. But thank you, man. And don't
Sure.
discredit how much you bring to the table, brother. Shit.
I, I appreciate it.
You run this show. You
Well,
run this show, man. You run this show.
no,
I'm here for
Miranda
the
runs the show.
Okay, that is very true. Thank you, shout out, and bless. God damn, thank you. Yeah,
Indeed.
Miranda's taking this show farther than I could have with my fingers on it. Um, I'm, I guess I make a smooth voice. I don't really think of it that way. I like to just say what's on my mind, I suppose, and I'm a kind of emotional fella. So I guess I'll just keep bringing that level to the table, and hopefully it's not always depressing level of bringing some emotions to the table, but emotions are emotions, and if that's what I bring to the table, well, here it is, man, like I've been not doing well. I'll say that. And what I can also say though, while admitting that, is that I know full well that we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, we're gonna be good, dude.
And that's an important, distinction, man. Like there's a lot of people that lose faith, that lose hope, that, aren't like, I'm gonna go this direction. And like I know what direction I want to go. Like yeah, I'm stuck in a lot of ways. Um but I'm not lost. Yes, I'm stuck. And you could call it stuck in the tar, but I'm determined and I know which way I'm going once I'm out of the pit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. And I it, and since we've been talking since everything happened, it sounds like you got a plan. You got a plan to get out of the pit. You know, you've put down the shovel and you started building a ladder.
I have, man. Well, I mean, we could actually break into that on some more positive news if we wanted to turn the vibe of the show here a few minutes into it. Um,
Indeed.
little preview, I suppose, of kind of what I want to do outside the show and then in the show. And um, I have been looking into. Well, let's start it off this way. I have made a lot of money for a lot of other people in a lot of industries. I would argue that I've worked in more industries than most people have when they're 26 years old, um, by a lot. And I don't really want to take another job right now that is like 40 hours a week is not doing enough. Technically you did your time, but like if you're not doing 50, 60 hours a week, like long term, I'm not going to stick around, you know? Um, and like I can make ends meet working at the steel mill or going and working at the petroleum facility that just got propped up or go to Medtronic or pick a whole new industry, as long as I'm covering my bills. But at any rate, where I'm going with this is that I want to work for myself. And so, how do I get through this to a point where I can work for myself? So, if I'm going to be like a skilled contractor, right? Um, I like to think about it like if it was 1,000 years ago and you got 15 gold coins, What do you do with those to set yourself up and your family for success? Well, you might go and get a whole set of stuff to become shoemakers, or you might go and get all the skill tools that you need for whatever it is, right? So you pick a skill set and you get all the skill tools required to do that. So I started thinking about all the different skills that I have, right? I've operated all kinds of different industrial machinery, but then I've also done concrete work to framing and worked on farms in the next, right?
Mm.
At any rate, I'll get to the point because I feel I'm beating around the bush and I'm sorry. But if anybody's ever heard of laser cleaning, if you haven't, look it up. Laser cleaning, and this isn't like laser hair removal or laser tattoo removal, but it does use high power lasers, and it is an industrial machine that is used to clean surfaces like rust off of metal, paint off of surfaces without damaging the surface. You can take finish off of old wood without damaging the wood. Like it's super high precision without having all the sand blasting. So, kind of my thought as far as building that ladder, getting the tools that I need to establish myself with what I want to do outside of the show, is to become a mobile laser cleaning technician, and just set up my own shop and run mobile here in the area, um, Twin Cities, Minnesota. Fun, interesting bit. Do you want to know what I am thinking about naming it? Still in the thinking phase, I suppose.
What is that?
Thinking about naming it Mr. Carrot Works. See, I've got a brilliant idea behind that. One, obviously, I mean, if y'all don't know the story behind Carrot, the nickname comes from my first name being Connor, last name being Garrett. People not knowing which was which, like they're two first names, right? And so Carrot was born and spread like wildfire. And why not? It's great. It's a great name. If I was a rapper, I would name myself 24 Carat. But I digress. That's an aside. Mr. Carrot Works. Yeah. So like I can do Mr. Carrot Works laser restoration. Let's say a different time I want to do something different. I could be, Mr. Laser Works plumbing, Mr. Laser Works whatever, man, like fill in the blank, right? Think dirty jobs, the way that he could just pick anything and fill in the blank, right? Um, and shout out to Mike Rowe, by the way, because he's the man, inspirational. Um, I could be like that in the way of like getting people inspired towards trade work. I definitely would do it. Um,
Gotta get that man on the show someday.
hell,
That's another
hell yeah, hell
podcast.
yeah.
Get that man on the show.
Here,
To him
if
about
you're
his
listening
hobby.
to this, even if this is like 2 years in the future, you're seeing this, Mike, and it's 2 years past date, like reach out. Love to have you on the show.
100%.
Um, but yeah, so for myself, I really want to come back to a lot of trades and stuff, and that's where like my skills are kind of based at. And then kind of future of that outside of the show is kind of encouraging other people to go into different trades, whether it be welding, electrical, you name it. Like we need more skilled labor like locked into different areas across the United States. We just do. I mean, I guess it's my opinion, not we just do, but more trade schools would be really good, but I'll get off my horse. That's kind of the update for like, you know, what I want to do for a while is do Mr. Carrot Works and do laser restoration.
That's pretty sick, dude. That's not a bad idea. I think that's a pretty good deal for you. And like I think you and I are kind of similar as to where like we kind of do best when we're not tied down to an office or like a certain location for long periods of time because it kind of drives us crazy. The
Yeah.
the jobs that we do the best in is when we're like allowed to, kind of cruise around, bounce around all over town. Like we're not stuck at the same spot every single day. We're
Yeah, dude, 100%. I like the traveling aspect of it.
We're mobile creatures. I think that's probably one of the reasons I've stuck around with Eric as long as I have is because I mean he's a good boss too. He's a good dude. He takes care of us.
Oh,
He makes
100%, dude. Eric is the man. If I could have anybody for a boss, if I could pick my boss,
be Eric.
Eric, I would just put him in place, yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's
Obviously, that doesn't work because I couldn't just put Eric in place at whatever job I'm at. He wouldn't know what's going on, but you know what I'm saying. He's the man.
yeah, dude, he's the best. But I just I like the fact that I'm able to go from job site to job. Like some of the places I get to go for work. Like I was just in Sedona a couple weeks ago. That place is beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, I love that place.
Dude, yeah. I was gonna say, man, there's so many job sites that you're on that I get like a Snapchat of or different things of, and it's like, wow, that's a fucking experience, man. Like not everybody gets to do that. And yeah, we're just when we're doing those kind of jobs, we're just the guy doing the job for some other person that has all of that. So like overly jealous type people maybe be getting in there and like, oh damn, look at all this stuff this other person has. But like I get in there and I just get inspired personally. I'm like, I could have this happen and I could have this happen and all these different things are totally possible as long as you have the care to build it, you
Oh,
know.
dude, recently
And just because
recently we were
somebody
set
else paid
at
a
a
lot of
interesting
money.
job site up
Go
in
ahead.
North Scottsdale, and we were this guy. He's a hunter. Like he's a hardcore big game hunter, and
Yeah.
he has like Arizona state records and I think a couple of Montana records for elk and deer, but he hunts with muzzleloader and bow only. Um, I got
No
to see
shit.
a couple of his elk racks, like some of his trophy elks. Those things were just absolute monsters. They were massive. And then he had I think he had a desert, like a desert ram, like a Sonoran bighorn in his collection, and that was one of the state records that he held, and he got that with a muzzle loader. The thing was huge, bro,
That
huge.
is wild,
Like,
man.
and then he shows me his casita. Like all this stuff was in his main house. Then he shows me the casita that was behind the house, and there's more stuff in there. There's a moose in there. He's got bear in there. And all of it with bow or muzzleloader. Like the man is a legend.
Yup. I go into places like that anytime. Like I remember doing like pest control where I'm just like spraying for bugs and stuff, but I'll end up in somebody's house and they want me to, make sure that the garage is good, this and the other, and then, fix up their basement because they got rats down there. And then I'm sitting there talking to this guy, and I mean, by all accounts, this house is bougie as fuck, right? It's just super lavish. Um, but the guy's extremely down to earth. It's crazy, and all these different things that are around aren't just like showpieces of I've got all this wealth. Like there's a story behind all of it. He didn't always have a big house to put that stuff in, right? It's just that he's always kept everything that was, collected for himself over the years. And when you look back and realize like that you can do big things every year. And by the time you eventually get to where you have a big house like that, um, you take for granted a lot of what we have already accomplished, right? And I just grasped during that time frame, at least, like this guy likes to be able to take a moment and look back and be like, look at all this shit that I've accomplished. Yeah, it's just collecting dust now, but like, what's up with these rocket parts? Oh yeah, I helped build those for this other whatever project for the satellite. Man, that's badass.
Oh yeah.
And you only get little experiences like that when you get to be a traveling technician, bringing it back to the original point. Well, you're doing concrete. I was doing that with you for a while. We see some cool houses. I did like pest control for a while. Like whatever industry you're in, I think that travel aspect of being able to see all these different things, right? You work on some like big industrial building, you start getting inspirational ideas for like how you might build your own stuff, even if it's not the same stuff that they're paying you to do. You realize what you can build.
Yeah, man.
At least for me,
I
I
mean,
do.
I'm excited to see what you do, dude. Like I really am excited to see what you accomplish and get
I,
done. I feel like there's been a new fire lit up underneath your ass. So I'm excited to see what happens.
man, if only I could go like just like right to the end goal, man. Because I mean, we've talked about the other project kind of off air too, but like doing the laser cleaning thing or some kind of contractor thing for myself, being self-employed is all really awesome. But my heart is really at like bringing jobs back to America and bringing manufacturing back to America. And there needs to be more conversations, in my opinion, about like onshoring of different like base load materials and base load stuff that we use all the time, right? Like it doesn't have to be you don't have to be making a finished product. You can make a bunch of the stuff that people use to make finished products. And that's just going to make it so that the whole of the nation has more building materials, whether that's for actually building buildings or building, your little machine or having screws and having this and the other, Um, so, speaking of a fire lit under my ass, like I get into manufacturing facilities where I'm helping install some $1 million machine. And I just sit there and I look around and I go, you mean guys like me are building this place? Doesn't that mean that I can go and build one of these places? Obviously with other people helping me, but like a bunch of guys like me are building this place, right? And so if I go, well, is it actually that crazy for me to want to build my own expanded aggregate facility, get like industrial kilns and make a big factory, employ 300 people making six figures? I don't think that's
I
that
mean,
crazy.
I've just look at some of the entrepreneurs that have built some of the biggest companies on earth at this point. Like, so, dude, some of these guys are younger than I am. I'm 28, and there's some of these guys are doing software companies and working with the Pentagon, making millions of dollars a year, working with drones and all kinds of stuff, making millions in their like early 20s. There's a guy that's 23 years old, and he's a CEO of a company that's making drones and anti-drone technology for the DoD,
Man,
or
that's
I guess it's the
badass,
Department of
dude.
War. So the DOW, Department of War
That's
now.
badass. Yeah, man.
But
Like,
yeah,
and that's the thing that it really emphasizes to me that it is possible. Obviously, there's so many barriers in place, and it's dynamic for everybody. Everybody has to go through different hoops than other people, so there's no like clear, this is how you do it. But I see people like that, and I'm not sitting here going, oh god damn it, why him and not me? I just sit there and instead I internalize it and I go, well, it's definitely possible. And if he can do it, good for him. I want all these people to be successful. And then also, how do I get mine? How do I become that level of successful without fucking everybody else over? And maybe not
you just
everybody
gotta
thinks
start.
that way, but
You just gotta make a plan and start trying, bro. Like the only thing that separates most people from what it is that they really want to do is just trying. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure,
yep.
there could be a lot of obstacles in the way. There could be, well, I don't have time because I have to work 50, 60 hours a week to pay my bills and make sure like this happens. I couldn't possibly go back to school. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't like there's lots of things that could stand in the way of people achieving their goals because, life will, be life sometimes. But I think a lot of it really is just recognizing the opportunity when it comes. Because sometimes, yeah, like you're not going to be able to just go and chase whatever it is that you want to do because there are some obligations you have to fill. But then there's other times where life just, offers you something, and you got to be able to recognize, what it is for what it is. And sometimes, it's not easy. Sometimes, like, you're gonna be scared. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I really want to do this, but at the same time, if I take this opportunity, I could lose everything. That's something that a
Yep.
lot of people, are afraid of. That's something that stands in a lot of people's way. And
Yeah.
I think I think it's definitely been a factor in my life for sure. A ton of times. You know, like even right now, dude. Like I want nothing more than to be working in, maybe like the zoo industry or something to do with animals, or to even like take this podcast and make it something to where like you and I can feed our families and pay our bills and still be able to like reach people with our message and our mission statement, which is, hey,
Yeah.
you might be going through some shitty times, you know, you might be hurting, you might be feeling bad. We've been there. We're not psychiatrists, we're not experts by any means on any of the things we talk about, but we might be able to find like something that can help you feel better.
Yeah.
Something that can something that can give you a little bit of purpose, a little bit of meaning, something that can make you smile when you walk through the door at the end of a shitty work day, dude. I know I need it. You know, I know I need it. I
Yes,
know
sir.
Miranda needs it. I watch Clover with all of her developing hobbies, and I know she needs it. We all need it.
Oh
And
yeah. It's those experiences, man. And when when we don't have enough diversity of experiences, a life can become very overwhelming, you know. That's also, I think, why it's easy for people to disappear into YouTube. You know, maybe we're getting too much diverse experiences, going down the rabbit hole for too long. Um, but all in all, like, we need positive, reinforcing entertainment, ways to release, ways to just reprocess the day.
yeah, man. Well, Carrot, we said we'd keep this one short because we don't have Miranda watching our asses and making sure we don't fuck anything up technically, because you and I are notorious for doing such things when she's not watching over our shoulders.
Yes,
So
indeed.
I think we should wrap this bad boy up and put a couple pins in the old proverbial conversation cushion for the next you and I only episode.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been a good one. And hopefully there's no technical difficulties that interrupt the episode. But yeah, man, without further ado, I suppose we can wind it down. We got a little bit of updates out there and talk a little bit more about what we want the show to become.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed, man. Yeah, I think we definitely need to start talking about this show evolving. Not changing, but evolving. For sure.
yeah, man. I mean, there's so many directions to go that are not in, I wouldn't say a different direction by any means. It's just all additions to, right? I mean, I want to have people on for aviation. We can talk about airplanes down to
Oh,
drones. I want to have people on that are, you know, forging knives in their own backyard. Walk us through how you made your forge. Did you use refractory brick? Like all these kind of different things are really awesome and we want to have you on the show. So that's another thing before we're out of here. Like any topic, like we've done a lot of obviously like covering reptiles and different stuff like that. But if you guys want to hear about a specific topic, or if something that we ran over today or on another episode in our rambling, you've gone, hey man, what about that? Like, you want to explain that a little bit more, or if something you think deserves a whole episode to itself, let us know. Like, we're happy to cover a certain topic in more depth or explain our thoughts on something. We're all here for it.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. And reach out on Patreon, reach out on Instagram, Facebook, we're there. Find us at the Hobby Hangar podcast. You know where to find us. We definitely appreciate the support for those of you that do listen, for those of you that do reach out and give us feedback. It means a lot to us. This show has been hugely beneficial to myself and Carrot. I mean, we've talked to some amazing people. We've got some really great points of views, and we've looked at some topics that Carrot and I never really looked at before. I mean, Carrot and I learned that you can still become a knight in this day and age.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Man,
yeah.
and by far for me, I have enjoyed the aspect of sharing stories that I feel we don't necessarily find on the typical everyday podcast. The topics we might find on your typical everyday podcast, but hopefully here at the Hangar you get to find a little bit of comforting wisdom along with anytime we have some sorrowful words or an incident or whatever the topic may cover, man. Like, we're here to go through it to end up with what did we get out of it? What did we grow from it? How can this share with other people, So I don't know how to put that into good words. There was a little bit of fumble in there, but you get the idea. We're here for it. Come and share your stories.
Indeed. What we're here for. We always love the stories. Well, Carrot, good buddy.
Tristan, good buddy.
I think it's time for us to hit the end button on this bad boy. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been another episode of the Hobby Hangar. If you liked it, like, subscribe, share, all that fun shit, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, stay sexy.
Good night, everybody.
Breaking down reviews, got the hottest takes. Dropping all the scoop like a chef serve cakes. Tune in every week, you know what to do. Join the Hobby Hangout, we got room for you. Grab your headphones, kick back, relax. We got the stories, true facts to the max. From east to west, we got the whole globe wrapped. Tristan and Connor got this podcast tracked. Talking about hobbies, baby, every single show. Chilling with the best, let the good vibes flow. Here, time to unwind. Let Tristan and Connor ease your mind.